Pbkc, your ultimate destination for poker excitement in South Florida. 65 tables of action. Friendly and professional staff. Cash games featuring the best jackpots and promotions in the state. Daily and evening tournaments that cater to all levels of players. Table games like 3-card poker and Ultimate Texas Hold'em with just a $5 minimum. Experience all the thrill and excitement of Vegas-style poker right in your own backyard. Get cool summer vibes this June in the poker room with new, bigger high hand promotions. High hands every 15 minutes, 9 a.m. to midnight, with a $15,000 cash giveaway on June 28th. Also this month, progressive high hand weekends with a $100,000 bonus giveaway. Win extra cash for qualifying hands. Miss it today, win more tomorrow. Visit the poker room for complete rules.
Hey,
Uh-oh.
It's Wednesday morning. You know what time that is. I am not Mike Jameson, and I'm happy for that. That's a very good thing.
Short
for
of
me.
beard.
But you are Ernest from the Earnestly Speaking blah 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 podcast, all that stuff that Mike says.
See, we're not even 10 seconds in this podcast already starting up with it.
We're gonna go. We're straight off the rails. I gotta host this thing. And I also have to provide all the entertainment that I typically do during one of these podcasts. So I'm wearing 2 hats today.
That's why you're a host.
Right. That's why and I actually don't even wear hats. I usually wear visors because
you should wear a hat though.
No, ball caps, 8.5.
Big head.
Fit. But we got a lot of stuff to cover. Unfortunately, Mike said Disney or something, and he picked the worst day ever to go. It was an absolute torrential downpour. So enjoy that.
That's actually the best day to go, in my opinion, because that's where it's not as hot outside. Crowds will be less crowds probably there too also. Right. So best days goes rain.
Yeah, and then Pat is at a charity golf event in memory of Pat Senior, which was.
Shout out to Pat.
I got a quick story about Pat Senior. I want to interject real quick here, and I think it's a great time. One time I was up in Tallahassee, and I was at a meeting, and Senior happened to be there. We didn't work together directly a lot, and this was a few years ago. So I'm driving back. I left Tallahassee, and I was out of there for maybe an hour. I'm an hour out of Tallahassee, and I'm driving this little Ford Escort that I rented. So I get the phone call from Senior's assistant, and he says, hey, you need to come back to Tallahassee and drive Pat back to West Palm Beach. That's a 6-hour drive. All right, and I didn't have a ton of interaction with Pat Senior, but I heard a lot of things about him. And so I drive back there, and I'm in this Escort. I'm like, I can't pick up. He can't even fit in this Escort. So, he was a big dude.
Was he really?
Oh, he was 6'9". Like, he
was
a monster dude. So I'm like, so I have to go to the rental place, drop the Escort off, go get a reasonable car, and then roll up and pick him up. But long story short, the next 6 hours, I learned more about life and the way the world works and about kids and families and wives and all this stuff than I ever did in any 6-hour period or any 1-year period of my whole entire life.
What year was this? Because you had a Ford Escort. What year was this?
This was like 12 years ago or something like that.
Escort's
but I still remember that day. What a great guy. I hope the charity event's great. We miss you today, Pat.
Yes, definitely.
But I just want to interject that. Okay, so let's get down to business. We have business to cover. May high hands were berserk.
Oh my God, it was insane.
And I see behind the curtain, I see how many tables we had every day, and it was one of our busiest. It was our busiest May in years, based on all these high hands. It was great. So shout out to the players for showing up and coming and getting that cash. We're doing the same thing in June, Ernest, and you see it. That's all they're talking about between the high hands and then the progressive high hands. And look at it here. It's high hands and then 15. The cash giveaway is insane. That thing just like we're calling all hands on deck. We're like we got everybody dealing.
Yes,
like, and it was berserk. And then the high hand progresses on the weekends. We have by far, and I've been here 30 years, and I've been around this place for 30 years. These are the best promotions run at any card room ever in the state of Florida at any time, and it's right here at the Kennel Club. So come on in, get some of that money, and also come for the Belmont. We'll get into that a little bit.
The cool thing, though, is that we actually have up to 4 promotions going at the same time. You have the 3 high hands here, of course, and the bad beat.
Well,
still,
so we were talking about as we're putting together so many promotions, and we're like, can we do this? And we're like, I don't know, but let's try. We did. So we did good with it. So all right, so let's talk a little bit about sports. And I love football, and we're getting closer to football, and there's some football topics that are coming up. I am excited.
Yeah, good.
So there's some things that's up. Right. So we're going to cover a couple things. So Cam Ward, and I know we had last week last year we had the guy from Washington, and he came on as Sean Williams, right?
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels crash on
You
the
think
scene.
Caleb Williams, the first
Yeah,
pick,
he didn't
actually.
do that. Yeah, he didn't light it up.
That's your boy.
No. So this
Allegedly.
guy, he lights it up in Washington. Can Cam duplicate something like that?
I think it's potential to do something like that, but I think you're asking a lot for that team to get him over the hump.
That's
at
a good
least
point.
At least Washington had players in place to make that happen. Chicago, Caleb Williams was a disappointment last year in a sense because the Bears did line him up with a lot of talent around him. So he didn't have a bad year, but in terms of expectations, measuring that, I think it was a down year, and I think you were very critical of Caleb Williams last year.
I was.
Can Canware be a top 10 quarterback in the league? We had this discussion last week a little bit. We kind of teased a little bit about like who are the 10 best quarterbacks in the league. Obviously, you think Jalen Hurts is top 4. Okay, well, he's probably top 5. I don't think he's top 4 yet though.
Top
I think
two.
the four. We all mostly agree with that. But I think to him be a top 10 quarterback, he would have to put this team in a position to at least make the playoffs. I don't see top 10 yet. But I think you can see a scenario where this guy is definitely flirting with that conversation because he does have the talent to do it. I like the fact that he has great body language on the field. I watched a lot of games this year too, even though I'm not a fan. But he is, in my opinion, the greatest Hurricanes quarterback in history of that school. He is by virtue of talent.
Wait, there were some guys there.
Yeah, you get Bernie Kosar, Gino Torretta. No, but in terms of actual talent, he is the best Hurricanes quarterback ever seen play football. But that being said, can he be a top 10 quarterback? You're asking a lot there for that. That's a bad Tennessee team, man. That is a bad Tennessee team.
Yeah, and they're not getting better.
He's number one pick for a reason because they're that bad.
Let me ask this: do you feel that that he has any chance to meet the expectations now? And which do you think is more important, having the arm talent and the skills, the physical skills, or being a winner? Because there's a lot of things that say, just being a winner, that matters, and that's where what happened with Jalen Hurts a little bit.
You talk intangibles, and I think that
I value that more. Do you win games or not?
I absolutely agree with you on that because I think again, you look at the guys we consider the greatest quarterbacks of all time in the history of this league. Tom Brady doesn't have a great arm talent.
He doesn't. He
Tom
can't run.
He's a good.
He can't run.
He can't run either. He just has a will and desire. Joe Montana, same thing too. Joe Montana was a little bit mobile, but Montana didn't have a great arm either.
Right.
But he had the will and desire to win.
I don't know a ton about Cam. Does he have what's his level of mobility? Give me a comparison.
He can move. He's
not. He's an Aaron Rodgers move. But
yeah. He's not a statue.
He's not Jalen Hurts.
No, no one's Jalen Hurts, man. That's my guy. But in not only that, you can't be a statue in today's league anymore. It is now a requirement. You have to be able to at least move the pocket with your legs if the whole thing breaks down, all that. So
that's a good point with the pass rushers doing what they do.
We should one of our probably July episodes do a top 10 ranking quarterbacks going into the league, going into the season. We should do that.
All right, we'll do that later. We'll do that more towards August. But all right, so another topic. So as we get closer to the 25, 26 year, you look back on last year and you think about guys who had unfortunate events and injuries or whatever. Who do you have bouncing back from a disastrous season last year, whether it be an injury or an off year or just something that just didn't work out?
You're going to call me crazy, but I think Dak Prescott.
I would.
Yes, okay. I think Dak Prescott's a good chance of doing that. I think the Dallas Cowboys actually have a decent team. Now, look, they're fun to make fun of because they're the America's team and all this crap. And we get you and I both hate the Cowboys, so we get that. But the Dallas Cowboys last year regressed massively. Large part because Dak missed most of the year because of injuries and whatnot, and a lot of things happened on there. But they're not a bad team. Look, are they a Super Bowl team? Are they in a conversation with the Eagles? No, they're not. Are they even in a conversation with other top tier 2 teams like the Bills and the Ravens? No, they're not. But they're still, with Dak Prescott and that talent around them, they're still a 10-win team. They're still a playoff team. They can get there, maybe win a playoff game, and then that's their ceiling. I think Dak Prescott, we forget, 2 years ago, he was actually number 2 in the MVP race. Number 2.
Yeah, and don't forget, you have hopes for it, but there was coaching issues and some other things, and then you get rid of your head coach. You don't re-sign him.
Yeah.
And then you bring in a guy who's his assistant. I've never understood that. So imagine, you don't like the way things are going.
Right.
In your business, right? So you fire the guy who's the lead manager, and then you put the guy who's been managing and put him
because it's Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is okay. We wax poetic on this all year long on this podcast. Now is Jerry Jones just does what Jerry Jones does, and you have to kind of bake that in.
You watch Landman? That Landman, the oil thing. No. Jerry Jones pops up on my TV the other day. He's in there, and he's giving this story about work and family, and he's tearing up, and my wife's tearing up, and everybody's tearing up. And I'm like, I didn't know he could act like that. It was wild. You got to check that out. But yeah, I digress.
Landman?
Landman. Yeah,
Okay,
it's an excellent show with who's the guy?
Who's it?
Billy Bob Thornton is in there, and he's a
Billy
dude's
Bob.
a riot. All right,
My wife can't stand him. She can't stand Billy Bob Thornton.
He dated Angelina Jolie, so
I know,
he
lucky
must
bastard.
have something.
Lucky bastard.
Something going on.
Yeah.
All right, so I have Hutchinson, the
I like
defensive lineman.
He's
now it's a low hanging fruit type pick because the defensive lineman coming back and doing what he does, he's going to put up numbers. He's going to be fine. An injury like that won't hamper him. He's not. He's a 3-second burst guy. It's not like he has to run long distances. So I do have him. And I can you bet that on our app on the Hard Rock?
I didn't see. I've never seen a comeback of the year in any form of fashion, any app. I haven't seen.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised. I see it though. Wouldn't be surprised.
That would be. I would pick him. That's my pick.
That's actually a good pick, actually, too, because I mean, with that team also being as good as they were last couple of years, actually, rather. I think that's definitely one. But I think I said Dak because number one, quarterbacks always get the first look, and it is Dallas, and Dallas did underwhelm last year. I think hopefully he doesn't win it though. But.
Right. So, and here's a little bit of a story that's a near and dear close to our producer who holds this thing together, keeps this thing from going.
You need a hug, Jake?
Yeah, this thing could literally, if it wasn't for Jake, this thing would light on fire every single week. Like we show up 3 minutes before and we just sit down and put our headset on. So we shout out to Jake, but let's hammer on his Cleveland football team a little bit right now. There's 4 quarterbacks in that room. Okay, so we have Joey Flacco, and we'll put him as like the dad figure, like the caretaker, right? So that's Daddy Joe Flacco. Then you have Kenny Two Gloves Pickett.
Your boy.
He's more of a trade. This guy is he's going to be a career trade guy where he keeps getting traded. That'll be his legacy where he played for 31 of the 32 teams. But
made money and had a long career.
No, not even make money. He's just going to get traded.
Right.
Dylan Gabriel. I don't know a lot about this guy. They drafted him.
Oregon. He was a Heisman candidate last year.
He's a southpaw.
I don't like him.
Right? Was Bernie a southpaw? Bernie Kosar? No,
I don't know.
No, it was the other guy. He was no. Anyway, so he's a southpaw, which is always weird to me. Quarterback. You watch him and it looks weird because it's I don't know if anybody should throw with their left arm. Like
he's a lefty, right. Definitely, but
it throws the whole offense off. Like you run certain plays for certain sides, certain throws are easier. Anyway, you got that guy, and then you have Shador. I don't know. Do you consider him a long shot or whatever? You see these guys standing side by side. They're 4 deep. They all know somebody's a dead man walking. Somebody's not going to be there for the thing. What do we got? What do you think?
The safe bet here is probably Joe Flacco starting week 1.
That's so weird.
And it's because he's probably the only one of the 4 that has recent NFL. But Kenny Pickett obviously has some experience too, but he didn't play much last year other than one game.
I've never understood. Okay, so I never understood that philosophy. So you have this veteran guy, right? And you have this guy or these talents behind you, and you're trying to figure out what you have, and you're not going to win a Super Bowl this year. Probably not.
What the Browns? They have no shot.
Probably not.
Jake, you hear that, Jake?
So you take the best. You take who you think is the best quarterback experience, who has a shelf life that's not going to last long enough until you get to good enough. You're not going to get good. Joe Flacco is not going to be there when the Browns are good again. I don't know if anybody's going to be alive when the Browns are good again. With that being said, wouldn't you just get these guys in there and throw them in there and let them play some football, right?
I agree with that.
I do. You know what? You got 4 guys. Everybody gets a quarter. Like we'll flip it. We'll draw straws.
That's not a bad idea, actually, though.
That would be wild.
I think Dylan Gabriel is the worst of the 4 in my opinion. I think Shador has a good chance of winning the starting job.
Wow.
If he has to impress in camp and of course in preseason. But I think that the safe bet is that Joe Flacco, because he's actually played more games recently in the last year. Like he started 8 games for the Colts last year. So I think the safe bet is that he'll be the starting quarterback week 1 for the Browns, just to play it safe. But keep an eye on Shador, man. I think he is. Look, we made fun of him during the draft and him getting drafted was the 5th round. But here's the thing: he has a real chance to win this job. He's in the right spot to win this job. So if he does well and puts the work in, this guy could be starting quarterback week 1.
That's the thing I'm hearing. He's not putting the work in. I'm hearing some early reports about stuff like that.
Well, I mean,
speaking of not putting the work in, and we don't have this on the board. Did you see Stephon Diggs in Miami? Did you see?
I heard about that story. The little pink substance.
Yeah, he's essentially like trafficking on a yacht in the middle of the water somewhere while everybody else is practicing.
My thing is, if you're a player, why are you around people with cameras first off and doing things like, dude? Things will get out. Like, stop.
Well, that's in today's world. It doesn't matter where you're at or what you're at. Somebody's going to find out. You're just going to know. So on non-football related news, but football related news, the wedding and this hit a little close at home
Uh-oh.
for my family.
How's she doing?
She's all right. Josh Allen married Haley Steinfeld.
Oh, he got a ring finally.
No, that's
Wow.
brutal. So, yes.
He got a ring. Cool.
So they got married. But that brings up the question, who, and I think this is going to be close, but there's another one in contention, obviously. Who's the star couple of the NFL right now?
Oh, that's stupid.
Is it Bill?
I mean,
Belichick? Or is
the
it,
easy answer is going to be
right.
The obvious answer. I didn't want to say it because we talked about him last week on the show, but I think.
Is it wild? Is it wild that Josh Allen's girlfriend is older than Bill Belichick's girlfriend? Is that wild or not?
Is she really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I don't know anything about Haley Stanfield. I know the name, but I don't know anything about her.
Right. I don't know any other couples, right? There's no other really, like, everybody keeps that stuff quiet. You
have,
don't bring your wives to work. You
have a few. I mean, you have Sierra. I mean, and Russell Wilson, obviously the other one.
Oh, yeah, but they fell off the radar a little bit. But, yeah, that's a good one.
because they're very private.
That's a good one.
Because it's a real marriage. It's a real marriage. They've been together a long time.
What's the
It's not a PR thing.
Oh, you think these are PR?
No. I'm not suggesting any at all.
No, Bill Belichick doesn't want PR. He doesn't care about any of that.
But does he even count anymore? He's not in the NFL.
Stop it.
I mean,
he does. Oh, a cool thing. A kid that I worked with in football and Pop Warner and helped with some other things. He actually got signed and he's got pictures with Bill. It's pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, local guy, Palm Beach
Nice.
County. Congratulations to him. From Benjamin.
That's interesting.
Cool.
That's
all right,
interesting.
so we're gonna go in. So we're gonna segue a little bit of football, and I don't do this as good as Mike, but some people might say I do it better, right? Okay, I do.
You're pretty good.
All right, so we had this cool thing. Did you see what the SEC did with their fining and penalty for storming the field?
What are they broke now?
$500,000 fine for storming the field. So imagine this, right? You and I are down. We're at the Gator game, right? And Gators playing Alabama. And Alabama's undefeated, and the Gators have no wins, and we beat them at home. We are paying that $500,000. Go on that field and tear down that goalpost. What do you think about that? And then, so I guess the only thing you could do as a operator, as a college, is have extra security and try to fight those guys off. But good luck trying to keep the 90,000 student body off the field. Have you ever stormed the field?
No.
Basketball court?
Not my thing. Not my thing.
Not even basketball court?
I keep it classy, brother.
I stormed the field with Pop Warner one time. We stormed the field.
I'm sure
That's
you
pretty
did.
Cool. An overtime thing or
That
whatever.
sounds like your personality.
It does. It does. You had the whole thing. And run it over the other sideline where the other coach is and give them the business. Yeah. But,
you like Halliburton's father? Like going to the guy next to the guy's like
no, I'm a little better than that. But yeah, to storm the field. So $500,000. What a weird precedent. $500,000 fine. Like,
here's the question.
So SEC gets $500K. Does the college? Because there's a level where it doesn't matter. Like the fine isn't big enough. Like there's certain things you do, like a parking ticket. Like right, you're down in Manhattan. You're trying to go to a show. You're gonna be late for and there's a parking spot, and you know you're gonna get a ticket. And it's $38. You park there and you just
But
take
think
the
about
ticket.
it. Say you play 12 games a year, okay?
Right.
All right. Say that happens at least 6 times a season. That's what? $3 million?
Nobody's storming. Nobody's storming.
You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of money
when
you're
the Gators
investing.
beat Vanderbilt at home, nobody's storming the field.
No, I
It's not
agree with that.
happening, right?
I feel twisted about it because, on one hand, I don't like turning the field only because of the safety issues. At the same time, this is tradition. This is what makes college football great.
You're like
these things.
You're like
they
the
care.
push musher guy. You're talking about injuries on storming the field. Give me one injury that somebody got injured storming the field.
I mean, here's the thing. I would say allow them to storm the field after the opposing team has left this field. At least
that doesn't work.
It's impossible.
You got to storm the field when the band's still out there, like they used to do in the old days, where the band's still out there, the play's actually still going, and the band's on the field, and the players are running into the band. That's the kind of storm you need. That's a storm.
My thing is, SEC is why are they now instituting this now? What something happened? Was there injuries? Was there complaints? Was there lawsuits that happened recently? That's my question. What happened in the last year that say, oh, you know what? Now we're going to charge. We're going to buck tradition, and we're going to charge schools $500,000 for charging a field. Something that comes naturally to college football and college basketball, for that matter, too. Also,
yeah.
Does this also apply to college basketball too in the SEC as well?
I haven't.
I'm assuming it's probably across the board.
I'm sure it'll be coming.
Maybe lacrosse also too. Doing lacrosse game also, they'll charge the field in lacrosse.
Yeah, you should. I think you should be able to storm the field in certain things.
I tend to lean towards yes, allowing it because I think it's. As a fan of sports and as a fan of college football, especially watching, I love tradition.
Right.
Seeing a big upset like for example.
Right.
It's cool to watch that, even though there's a lot of safety issues with that. If there were a lot of issues where people got hurt and stuff, and I can understand that.
Right.
But I love watching that stuff, seeing big upsets and seeing.
I'm for tear the goalpost down, carry it 2 miles down the street, and
throw that crap in the lake. That's
you
can afford it.
You almost said the S word. I heard it. All right, so let's get on. So that's football wrap up, but football's ramping up. We're already
You're
in
excited.
June.
Look at you. Look at you're perked up now.
No,
it's like
football is like
defend that
we're
titles.
in June. Well, like Jalen Hurts is throwing. He looks good.
That's
Some
my
other
guy.
guys look. Stop saying that. Like
Dude,
it's so weird. Like
I
there's
love
no
bro,
Giant.
Bro,
I don't care.
Listen.
I don't care if my kid plays for the Giants. He'll never be my guy. I won't be like, there's my guy. That's my boy.
I have been a Jalen Hurts. Listen,
suck.
Here's the thing. I've been a Jalen Hurts truther since he was in Alabama.
Right.
I've been a big fan of the kids. So
yeah, but you got to give it up. I'm a fan of my kids, but if he got signed by the Giants, I'm not a fan of his anymore.
I mean,
I'm not.
I don't know. Maybe,
you can't.
Maybe I've grown out of the whole fanaticism of
yeah, you're a front run. Yeah, home and
I appreciate players. Like I'm not a Bills fan, but I love Josh Allen. I I'm a Ravens fan.
I do too. But you have there's rules to that. You can't root for a guy in your own division. You're not allowed to do that.
I'm rooting for the team though. Look, I still hate the Eagles more than life itself, but at the same time, it's
I've never heard of Dolphin fans like, yeah, you know what, Tom Brady, I like that guy. I've never heard that.
They respect him. Can I respect Jalen?
I don't know if they do that. You can do that. Okay. All right, so let's get on to the NBA. So my Knicks, they never bounce back from that game one, like the launch the ball goes a mile in the air, goes right in. That was brutal. That was tough. And then. And we'll get to the playoffs, but then they just can the coach. I mean, like
it's not a surprise. It's not a surprise at all.
Why?
This was always on.
We finally made the finals. Like we're in there. We're like,
yeah, but you heard me all year long on this podcast say this, that if this Knicks team is going to go to the next level, they had to change the voice.
Right.
I said this in March. I said this in April. I said this during the playoffs.
And who's the guy now? Like who's going to be better?
Probably Mike Malone. You have a couple of guys out there you could look into. But we've seen precedent of this in the past, too, with massive franchises. The Bulls in 89-90. They went to conference finals because Detroit. Lost to Detroit in 2 years in a row in the conference finals. They fired Doug Collins, bring in Phil Jackson. Rest is history. You have that with the Golden State Warriors recently with Mark Jackson.
All right,
they
give me
the
a
playoffs.
guy.
They fire Mark Jackson, bring Steve Kerr. Rest is history.
Give me a guy.
It happens. It happens. Tom Thibodeau, I've always said that he's a very good coach. He really is. I'm not knocking him out there.
But he's got this weird look on his face, good, bad, or if I don't have the volume on in the game, I can't tell if something good or bad happened.
That's true.
He's got that face. He's like,
he's what I call him. And to bring it to football a second, you know who Maurice Schottenheimer is.
Yeah.
That's who he is. He's a really good coach. Can get you to a certain point, but he can't elevate you to the next level.
All right, who gets him there?
We'll find out soon. I mean, they're going to make phone calls. I'm hearing today they're going to make phone calls to Jason Kidd. They're going to make a phone call to even Eric Spoelstra. He's going to say no, of course, on that one.
That would be a good one.
I would be so pissed off if
that would be
no.
good.
The Heat wouldn't even entertain the idea. They'll hang up the phone.
So Brooklyn Rob chiming in. Good to see you, Rob.
What's up, Rob?
He's a big Miami homer guy. His name is
Brooklyn
Smart Rob, but he gave up on that city years ago, and he's a Miami guy now. So he likes all those Miami basketball and football.
But it was the right move. I mean, I have respect for the Knicks to do this because even though they did overachieve in terms of so it's funny because I picked them to go to the finals the year started.
Yeah.
And then when the playoffs started, I was like, nah, they're not good enough based on what we saw to the 82 games.
Right.
So they kind of overachieved in one aspect, but they underachieved in other aspects.
Right.
Based on
Who
what
did you have winning the whole thing?
Before the year started?
Yeah.
I had the Mavericks and the Knicks in the finals.
Who did we pick? Okay, so
I had the Mavericks winning it.
As we got on, and you know my history of picking champions, I have the Thunder, and you could go back.
Yeah, but did you pick that in October, I'm saying? I had that in October.
No,
when it was 0-0.
I picked him in December.
I had a Thunder winning the whole thing in April
so you
when it
do have
started.
that.
Yeah.
Right.
I followed you.
In April?
When the playoffs started.
Oh, yeah.
That's different.
Yeah, no.
Right.
Yeah. So I have, don't forget my big teamer. So I have a 5-teamer with the Florida Gators, which I already hit. Mm-hmm. And you can bet on mine's on Hard Rock Bets, who we're a partner with. Yeah. I have the Gators, which I already won.
Yankees.
Hold on. And then I have the Thunder, who's in the finals, and I have the Panthers, who are in the finals.
Right.
And then I have the Yankees and the Eagles. For $2, I might win $12,000. God help this whole show and this world if that bet comes through. I'm going to get it tattooed on my arm.
Take me to dinner.
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to bring it all. I'm going to bring it all in cash, and when we do the show, I'm going to set it. I'm going to spread it out. I'm going to count it down right on the show.
Can I get $10?
So I'm getting close, and I'm already getting they're trying to get me out of my bet. I'm getting messages and saying,
what is the payout?
I expect
what is it right now?
I expect the chief to call me at some point, like, we got to get you out of this bet. I don't want you in this bet.
What is the payout if you leave right now? Out of curiosity,
it's right now. It's $49 for $1.
Stick it
Oh
out.
no, because if these next two come in, which I think they will, It's gonna go through the ceiling. So I'm excited for
The
that.
Panther one, we'll get to them in a second, obviously, but that's going to be a tough. That's
We'll
a
talk
sweat.
about that.
That's a sweat,
We'll talk
definitely.
about
The NBA will not sweat. But real quick to Thibodeau, real quick though. It was Leon Rose, GM. I respect what he did here because they are not they don't want to rest on their laurels. They realize that for us to break that glass ceiling again for the first time in 50-something years, we have to shake things up. And I think they're going to do that.
I thought they did this year. Getting to the finals is a big step, and you got to keep progressing. Don't regress, because then you set yourself back and you don't know what's going on.
Right.
All right. So back to the nuts and bolts of basketball. Thunder Pacers starts tomorrow night.
Excited.
I've heard rumors of a sweep. I don't see that happening.
No, I don't either.
You said something about gentleman's sweep or something.
5 games, gentleman's sweep, obviously.
Right.
And I think this series will be. And I said this is the reason why I think Indiana was a better matchup for OKC is because I think style of play and whatnot. I think these two teams, these games will probably be competitive game to game, but ultimately OKC is just deeper. They're now they're well rested, especially too now. I just think the Thunder they are just a dynasty in the making. And you look at everything you have with their situation with the draft picks they have also in the back pocket and the players they can sign to maxes in the next year or two. They are the team set to be the next what the Warriors were in the aughts, obviously. So to me, I had the Thunder in 5. Would it shock me that the Pacers stretch the thing to 7 games? Maybe a little bit, but because Indiana is a very, very good team, very formidable. But I just think OKC's just.
Where are we starting, at home or on the road? Thunder's home?
Oh, yeah, best record in basketball, so yeah.
Okay. So they're at home. What we have is a clash of style. So if you didn't know this, and I'm the stat guy, remember.
Yes, ingenious.
OKC has the league best transition defense. Did you know that?
Yes.
Oh, you knew that.
They are the best offense and defense in basketball.
You never said that on the show to let everybody know. So I'm letting everybody know. And then
number
one, the fastest pace offense in the league is the Pacers.
Correct.
So now you have a collision.
Yeah.
How do you think that plays out?
I just think OKC has all the weapons necessary to limit that damage, especially on defense. They are so disciplined. Watch the way the last series against Minnesota went. They took Anthony Edwards out of that game, the last 3 games of that series. Right. They just took him out of the game. And
so you think Halliburton gets shut down and then it's just done?
I think with Halliburton too, and this is not a knock on Halliburton himself, but it's that you get a lot of these like ebb and flows. There's some down games, even in the Knicks series. Game 5, 8 points. You'll see a lot more of those in this series because of how good the Thunder are on defense.
Right. So you're going. So you're
5
taking
games.
the Thunder 5 games.
5 games.
That series starts tomorrow. Yeah.
Plus 750.
Plus 750 what?
That's how bad the odds are.
Oh, for the game tomorrow, that's big.
For the series in general.
For the series,
yeah, Thunder are a massive favorite, biggest favorite in a while.
That's just I don't know how you could ever have confidence in that, and maybe something happens. Of
course, injuries can happen.
Why do you do that to people like the teams? You just throw in an injury, be like, oh, injury could happen, and then
again.
But we'll talk about
we forget
that.
This team.
We're going to talk about jinxes later here.
Noah, this team was 2 wins away from 70.
Right.
70. You know how special 70 wins is? Only two teams done in the
the Bulls and
the Warriors. That's it.
That's it. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, so the Wolves. You mentioned the Wolves. Kevin Durant.
Yes.
Should they? Could they? And would they?
Could they? Yeah, they could. I mean, we'll see what Phoenix's asking price is. I mean, for a guy that's in his last year of his contract and at 37 years old, but still a top 15 player in the league.
Is he a good fit there?
He is. Kevin Durant's a good fit anywhere because Kevin Durant is not unlike a lot of these stars. He wants to play. He wants to just come in and play. He's an egoless guy. Come in and play basketball. He doesn't care about being the guy. Doesn't care about the ego thing. He wants to play basketball. So he'll fit anywhere. He'll be number 2 behind Edwards. He'd be okay with that. Should they go after him? They're gonna have to really consider something here because Edwards. Look, you have a top 5 player in the league right now in Ant.
Okay.
Okay, that's good to have that. But at what point does he start getting frustrated and start saying, you know what, this is not working. I want to look elsewhere. You got a 2-3 window to make him happy and make him whole.
And Minnesota's not like a destination.
It's not either, and that's part of it too. Also, so
right.
At what point does he start looking and say, what about Miami? What about this?
Isn't he a wild man? Like
I mean, he's a little bit. He's a young kid. He's living his life and this kind of thing. But he does play. He's a kind of an old school throwback guy in a sense on the court anyway. But if I am Minnesota, you definitely if the opportunity is there to get Durant, and it's not going to cost you the entire roster, which I don't think it will, honestly. You go after it because it fits a timeline for Edwards.
You have Edwards and Durant.
That's a great combo.
Right.
That's a great combo.
Let me ask this: if they had him this year, do they keep up with OKC?
No, OKC is special. OKC is just that good.
Wow.
I think we're not understanding how good OKC is.
I'll admit, let me give a little guilty admission. I haven't really watched them play that much this season, if at all. I've seen the highlights and stuff, so I'm going to start tuning in and I'll see how that looks.
Do you remember when Golden State ran off those titles early on and when Steph Curry blew up and the whole thing? This is what we're seeing on a lower level because of the market value, because Steph Curry was a lot flashier.
Yeah.
The Thunder are not on TV. It's hard for people to grasp it because the Thunder were not on TV all the time. Yeah. But again, look at the numbers. You just said the numbers a little while ago. Look at SGA winning MVP this year, and look at 68 wins this year. There's a reason why this team is being valued it is now, and people are only now starting to buy in because now they're paying attention to it. That's why. But you know, if I'm Minnesota, you have to definitely if KD's on the board, you definitely obviously Giannis number one. If you go get Giannis number one if you can, but it's going to cost you arm and a leg for that. But if you can't get him, KD is definitely next in line for.
What do you think the Heat? Like we'll touch on them real quick since Brooklyn Rob's in here. What do you think their move's going to be? What are they going to do? Are they going to rinse and repeat next year?
I heard something that they're going to re-sign Tyler Hero to a 3-year deal, which I mean I get it. Yeah. He's a good player. He made All-Star team this year in the whole nine, but they are right now in a strange situation because their team is a lot of good B+ players that just not good enough. They need a star. They need a number one guy. They have really quality basketball players though, but they don't have a number one guy. And their ceiling is probably going to be a 6th seed, probably in the Eastern Conference. That's it.
Yeah, you gotta have like the number one guy.
Right.
You know, you like in order like you always want that number one. You can lose the 2 or 3, but the number one you gotta have that guy.
Yeah, I think Bam hit his ceiling already. I think Tyler Hero won't get much better than he is now. They have a solid team of players, and obviously one of the best coaches in basketball. But that's not good enough. They need another guy.
Right, and it's tough. It's tough to build that team and get direction and win those championships. Speaking of championships, we have another team, a Florida team, looking for a repeat. The Panthers, they start up again, a repeat with Edmonton. Edmonton last year, if you remember, Panthers jump out 3-0, then it's 3-3. All of a sudden, everybody's like, this is a colossal meltdown, the biggest meltdown in the history of sports. Panthers are able to wrap it up at home, take that in a close one, and bring home the cup. Florida teams, did you realize this, that Florida teams have won 4? Hold on, I got the stats here. I have them. 3 of the past 5 Stanley Cups. Canada hasn't won one in like 30-something years, right? That's
correct. Somewhere to that extent, yeah.
Canada is its whole own country.
They stink.
It's massive.
It is bad.
So how many teams do they have up there?
4. Well, you have is Vancouver's little team there?
Yeah.
No. Vancouver. No. Edmonton.
All right.
Toronto.
Yeah.
Montreal. At least 3.
Okay.
Someone in the chat tell us if it's a 4th team, please.
Yeah, Ernest is a little slow. I expect when I ask these questions that he has answers for them, but he doesn't today.
Yeah.
All right. So
I'm getting old.
The state of Florida has 2 teams and they have 4 cups, and they're just like they're in the finals every year.
Tampa's always really good. Yeah.
And we're not even good at ice. Like in Ottawa.
Thank you, John.
Like Florida's not even good at having ice. Like anytime you get a drink and your ice melts in like 2 minutes. Like we're not good at ice.
You just had a Mountain Dew, right?
Right. It's watered down already. It's like all water. We're not even good at ice, and we're crushing.
5, Calgary.
Wow.
That makes it even worse. You have 5 teams.
So you have 5. Florida has 2. Florida has terrible ice. And,
no ice and rain, hail,
and they don't play American football in Canada and all these other things, and it's too cold to play anything else except hockey, and they're still not good at it. It's a little bit bizarre to me.
Yeah, it is bizarre. But it's a special time now because if the Panthers win this title this year, that's 2 in a row, right? Obviously,
right. 3 finals
and 3 finals appearances now. I was talking about this with our good friend Matt, who, on my podcast yesterday, and like there's certain moments in this city, in this sports town that. Certain teams grab a culture of a city. Obviously, 72 Dolphins, the 17-0 season. Okay, you have the Heat, Big 3 Heat, those 4 years and how great they were. The Hurricanes in the 80s, of course, what they did, the 5 titles in like 8 or 9 years. We're not entering that conversation now with the Panthers. Right? If they win a title here, they them being so, it's 7 teams, Winnipeg and Vancouver.
This is it. They're just going to keep adding them.
That makes it worse because the fact that you have 7 teams in Canada in a sport that they own and they can't win a title in 3 decades. That's pathetic. Anyway, back to the Panthers. They're into this vein now. Where, like this team is now becoming one of the best teams in terms of like what they've meant to a city that we've seen in the last like 5 decades. Panthers have been relevant now for about 5-6 years. Like they didn't come out of nowhere. They've been building.
Wait.
They've been building this thing for a couple years now.
You're saying they're the most relevant team in Florida in the past 5 decades?
Well, I'm saying no. I'm saying they're one of the most
right.
relevant in terms of like championships, in terms of like what they've meant to the city, in terms of what they mean to like just a
yeah,
culture.
I'm saying that too. It was Miami Heat. Remember when Miami Heat had Ron?
But the Heat had that with the LeBron years, with the 4 years, and now that's gone now.
I know, but you said 5 decades.
I guess Dolphins back in the 70s, Hurricanes 80s.
Correct, thank you.
90s.
Right, so this one, okay, so the Panthers this is what we have in Florida right now.
Yeah.
It's not the Marlins, and we'll touch on that in a minute. But the Panthers, so that series starts tonight. I don't care, home or on the road, I'm picking the Panthers on my Hard Rock Bet app, partnered with us.
You have to pick the Panthers, though. You got $12,000 on the line. You have to.
No, I can actually hedge and offset, but I like the Panthers. I think they're a very good hockey team. They find ways to win. I think Bob, if he's on, it's going to be a great series. And I like to parlay that with the over and some other things. So I'm excited for that. It's going to be to the brink. It's definitely coming home. So there's 2 road games. Today is Wednesday, then Friday, then back home on Monday. I'm hoping to get down to the game on Monday.
Right.
But what an atmosphere down there. There is nothing. And I had the luxury of going last year to the Stanley Cup Final, the first game, and it was wild. It was awesome.
That's the best. Hockey in person is the best. Like I'm a football and basketball diehard, but I've always said my 2 favorite sports to watch in person.
Not even close.
It's hockey and baseball, actually, in person.
Yeah, that's bizarre, baseball, to want to go and do that on purpose.
I love it.
Like
I love it. You
like
can sit,
what
relax, eat your food, have conversations.
Yeah, because there's nothing going on. Like
there's stuff going on, of course, but I mean, but you can mix it up a little bit in baseball. But hockey's the best number 1 sport to watch in person.
It's not even close. Boxing, I like an MMA.
That's not bad either.
I saw boxing. I took my kid to see Jake Paul fight one time, and that was epic.
How many games did they win it then, Panthers?
The Panthers?
How many games did they win the series then? Because obviously you picked Florida. I am too, but
I think it goes 7 games.
I think so too. I think both teams got better from last year. Obviously, the best player in hockey on the Edmonton side. Edmonton's a slight favorite only because of home ice, I imagine.
Right.
But again, here's how I would do it. I'll actually save it for a pick or a best bets of the week.
Okay, save it.
I gotta plan.
Say it?
No, I'll save it for the when we do our best bet sports bet of the week.
All right. Anything? What else do we got in hockey? Yeah, I'm excited for that tonight. Tune in tonight. I'm excited for it. We're finally getting back. We had a few days of lull where the series finals were done, and now we're getting back into it. And
by the way, I do think Florida, the people here in Florida do care. You're seeing a groundswell now of people in the city really care about this team now in ways.
Brooklyn Rob said, time to hunt. They got that little thing, time to hunt. It's like,
I think people in this market do care.
They throw rats. They throw the rats on the thing.
Yeah, you got to remember, the hockey in this town in general is not a big deal at all. Even when the Panthers went into the Cup in '96, it was like, okay, cool. But now hockey.
The one guy likes it. Super fan Matt. He's
the great. He's by far. Hockey. I will put him against any fan in history of that franchise.
I think if I had to pick sports, like if you had to pick sports, and you got to choose, your first ranked is what? If you had to pick only one sport to watch the rest of your life.
Oh, it's basketball, of course. But
wow, that's wild. All right, it's NFL, and that's.
But again, I'm a basketball purist, though. But then football's number 2 after that.
And then football's number 2.
Right.
I got hockey at 2. What do you got at 3?
A 3 would be. That's tough because I think aesthetically hockey's better to watch.
Yeah.
I'm a bigger baseball fan though.
Okay, what do you got at 3?
I'll go. You know what? I'll go hockey. You're
gonna go hockey at 3.
So I won't get bored.
Okay, I'll go basketball at 3. What do you got at 4?
Oh, baseball.
All right, I got darts at 4.
Damn, you are
darts.
Brutal, bro. You are brutal.
Darts, ultimate frisbee, badminton, croquet, anything, literally anything.
Wow.
Besides baseball.
You are disrespectful.
I am.
Noah.
So let's talk about that.
He's like, I am. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about how I'm not the only one who feels that way because Miami broke a record yesterday. Did you hear about this?
Which Miami?
Miami, the Marlins broke a record yesterday.
You
didn't hear about this?
Are we going to talk about this right now? Because they lost to Colorado twice already.
They broke the record for attendance, the lowest attendance in any Major League Baseball game ever. It was just over 100 and some odd. I don't know the number.
I saw a picture of that actually on a Lebertard show 2 days ago where they were showing.
The worst. I don't even know how you do that. Like, think about that. The stadium holds like 50,000 people and you have 130. And I know we're slow around here some days where you're like, I wish it was a little bit busier. we had more than 130 people downstairs playing cards the other
Correct.
Every day. We've never had a day with attendance less than 130. We're better than Marlins.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's very true.
Wild.
That's very true.
Like,
and they're still profitable because of shared revenue.
That's disgusting. Like you only put 130 people in the seats or whatever, and you're getting share. You should get shared revenue based on how many bucks they put in the seats.
Isn't it shocking though in a town like Florida that baseball is like number one priority for people where maybe
no, not if your product stinks. And that stadium, I'm going to tell you right now, that is the biggest misery in the history of any sport ever to get into that stadium. It's the worst thing ever. We can't go down there like you and I. It's raining out right now, right? It's 10:40. If there was a game at 7, it's going to be close whether we make it or not. And I am not kidding.
No,
it is like
it's the location was a problem. Like they were better off staying where they were at before. And former Joe Robbie, former pro player, because the location where the highway is much better. I went to a Marlins game a couple years ago, and getting there was a mission. Now, once you're inside, it's a fantastic stadium. But the trek to get there is a problem. They really should have tried to move this team more north. The problem is most of the really hardcore Marlins fans are up here in Palm Beach in Broward. They have fans here. They do have fans, but people don't want to go to games.
Well, yeah. First off, you got that drive, and then when you get down there, like it's Marlins baseball. Like, what do they got?
It's sad too because I remember inaugural year '93.
They still have that thing where if they hit a home run, it was like something that. Like there's what is it? It's like
the old
dolphin
there. You know what's sad about this too?
Marlin. It's actually a Marlin.
I was not my team, but I remember inaugural year '93. I went to at least 30 games that year. My dad lives like right next to the stadium, and I remember going to Marlins games. I remember some of my favorite child memories of going to Marlins games as a child. And God, I hate seeing this because I'm a New Yorker obviously, but I want this market to thrive. I live here. I've lived here a long time. I want this market to thrive, and it's.
Here's what Miami needs to do, and I'm going to tell you right now. You want to fix this thing? Get rid of the whole team and everybody and bring in the Savannah Bananas. You fill the stadium.
Oh, my God, yes.
The thing will be filled. You have and let them play the major leaguers. Who cares or whatever, but give us some kind of entertainment. Put the Savannah Bananas out there.
They're awesome. They're awesome.
No,
they're awesome.
How about this? How about the Savannah Bananas would never have 138 attendance. It's not going to happen. It's wild.
They sell out every game they play. They do, including down there.
Right, and let's talk some more baseball. So Dodgers... They beat the Yankees in a series for the weekend 2-1, right?
Yeah, and that game too was nuts. 18-2, 10 runs in the first 2 innings.
Yeah, that happens.
Come on. I mean, look, I do think that this will end up being the rematch of the World Series ultimately because I think as much issues as the Yankees have against the Dodgers, I think the Yankees team right now, currently constructed, is good enough to win the American League. I don't think maybe outside Detroit, I don't see anybody else really challenging.
Right, but if you make the American League, then you have a 7-game series to win the whole thing. It's not a stretch.
No.
Any team could beat any team in.
Of course. I just think I think if you ask, this is gonna be a weird thing here.
Okay.
Like, there's a better chance the Yankees go to the World Series than the Dodgers because the reason why
I understand how that
because
works.
the trek is easier than the Dodgers. There's more landmines for the Dodgers to face in the American National League.
Yeah,
like right now they're playing the Mets right now in this 4-game set and it's 1-1 and the Mets have both games to extra innings and the Mets are playing really good against them. So you have the Mets, you have obviously the Diamondbacks and a lot of teams in the National League that are going to give them issues. I do think the Dodgers will still get there, but I think this will be this is definitely a preview in my opinion.
Really?
So I think so. I think the Yankees are good. I just think their issue is that they can't beat LA. that's their mission is to beat LA.
So is that like the Dodgers were originally from Brooklyn, right?
Yes, they were.
Right. Well, is this actual team? You know how they move teams around? You lose track, like Cleveland does that. They lose a team, they get a team back.
Yeah, then they buy it, and then they just start fresh.
So this is actually the team that packed up and moved from Brooklyn Rob's team,
correct,
and moved all the way across the country.
Technically, I should be a Dodgers fan because I'm actually born in Brooklyn.
Really?
But I'm not going to be. I hate the Dodgers. I can't stand them.
Wow. So World Series preview could be. Yankees are the favorite to win the American League, so it'll be interesting how that plays out. But the Marlins, it's time to maybe reconsider what you're doing. How about this? The Major League Baseball, wouldn't at some point they look at their product and you have a minimum standard for your product?
When you say like attendance or
like Major League Baseball at some point be like, okay, you got to field a reasonable team and you got to make some kind of effort to get people in the building. At some point, it's gross negligence in my opinion.
The things the Marlins attendance has always been poor. Even back in the 90s, they were always poor. They only show out for playoffs NLCS World Series.
Maybe they could be one
That's
of those
true.
teams. Didn't the one league take over a team? Well, that was baseball, right?
Was that Montreal? No.
Somebody got taken over where the league's like, this is enough. That might happen with the Marlins.
I think the problem too also is baseball is now a regional sport. Like it means more in New York, in St. Louis, in LA, in certain markets. Let's just face it, the baseball here is a priority for spring training, but that's about it. Like the Marlins, no one cares for the Marlins, and it just they need. I mean, I don't know how you fix this problem at this point. Do you contract teams? Do you start cutting teams out of the league? I don't know. I don't like the idea of doing that, but at the same time,
you won't ever see that. You're not going to see that.
Right.
Has that ever happened in any sport? I don't think so.
Yeah, I think Montreal. Yeah, Tony Burns said it right. Montreal. Yeah, I was right. Montreal.
Yeah, Tony's a wealthy. Yeah, he's the sports almanac.
Right.
That is Tony Burns.
By the way, 94 Montreal Expos.
Yeah, he's just spitting. Look at what he's.
By the way, Montreal
we got
Expos.
the wrong guys on the show. We should bring Tony Burns on.
Yeah, 90 for real. No, 94 Expos should have won a World Series that year, but a strike happened. So.
All right, so on to golf, and we miss Pat for this one because he usually carries our golf segment because we don't.
Well, you're gonna carry it. You're a genius.
Yeah, we don't play it, and B know as
much
as Pat
I play on the
does.
Wii.
The Wii, like with the swinging, swinging this.
Does that count? No.
No, it does count. It's actually a thing. My wife actually one point threw her. She has Tommy John injury from. I think she threw a fireball.
Are you serious?
With the Oculus, and she has Oculus shoulder now. Where it's yeah, and it comes and goes. Like she'll reach for something on a shelf, and the Oculus shoulder will catch in. So you got to be careful with that. Even the Wii or whatever. I used to be a demon at Wii bowling. I'd be able to throw that thing and spin it. That
was fun, actually.
We could actually do that here sometime. We talk about that. We'll live stream it and we'll do it with the thing. Baseball. We'll do it with baseball. When we get closer to the playoffs, I used to smash the home runs. So with that, Pat didn't he pick Scotty to win the Memorial?
I think he did pick Scotty to win the Memorial.
He did.
He's on a roll, by the way. Is that 3 in a row?
He knows golf. He just knows it, right?
He's number 1 in the world, isn't he?
Pat?
Well, Scotty Scheffler. Well, but yeah, he does his golf. Absolutely knows his golf. Without question. He literally carries the segment. Right. I always ask him a question about something on the segment.
Right. Yeah, Scotty's number 1, and he has some. Okay, so I had some stats here. So he's on a heater right now. He has 16 overall wins. Mm-hmm. He joined Tiger as the only back-to-back Memorial champion. These are my stats. I have all these stats, and I don't use AI, or I may or may not use AI.
Nothing wrong with that.
He's the fastest to 16 wins since Jack Nicklaus, Snead, and Woods. Think about that for a second.
That's a nice company there.
That's not that's elite company. That is the company. Those
company,
are goats. Yeah. Yeah. So,
and yet
he's like the
has he ever
Thanos of golf.
Has he ever won a Masters?
No, I don't think.
And that's the
right?
coup de grace.
Wait, I might be speaking out of turn. I don't believe so. We'll have to get the expert in here.
Yeah, Sully, do you know that?
Right. Well, I don't believe so. But man, he is on a tear. I'm a Rory homer. I think he's fighting and scratching. He needs to play these events. He didn't even play that event. And give him a run for his money. Don't let him come in there and I don't know. Do you just not like what you do for a living? Where you're just like I'm gonna let Scotty just take all the wins.
I think Butter said yes. He did with a Masters.
Yeah. So there it is. So yeah, I'm like, I think Rory needs to at least, for a good product, you need competition. So when the Marlins play somebody, you have lopsided competition. When Scotty plays the Memorial, and nobody's in there. You have lopsided competition. I want to see. I want to see it. I want to see it. So.
Yeah, of course, I'm with you too. And I tell you what, watching these last couple of weeks, I've been really getting into golf again. Like really following Scotty's thing. I'm like, every time I turn around, Scotty's winning a tournament.
You thinking about starting out playing? You thinking about it, like in real life?
You know what? That's crossed my mind because I have family members who do play, and they've asked me to come on trips with them, and I was like, I'm going to be there just to hang out. I don't play.
Right.
Maybe I'll.
Who would you emulate your game after? Like
Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley golf. Wow.
Charles Barkley.
Because
he's terrible, and I know if I get into it, I'm going to be. And by the way, he's a 2-time Masters champion. So Scotty Scheffler has a case of being the best golfer in the world right next to Rory.
You're like Tiger Woods. That would be you. That would be your same. That would be your game. You'd be out there, and you wouldn't wear the right clothes. You'd have like shorts and stuff on, and stuff that's not even allowed on the golf course, Crocs or something.
I wear Crocs.
Your couple loaner
I do
clubs
wear
that you
Crocs,
got
though.
mismatched set of clubs. You would have mismatched.
Oh, am I
clubs.
John Daly now?
Huh?
Am I John Daly?
No,
now?
you're not that
Jeez.
cool. No, you're not. I could be John Daly. What I do is just wear what I wear when I go to the festivals. I just wear that outfit and go play
Oh, my
golf, and it would
God.
be.
Could you
it would
imagine
be
that?
epic.
Oh, my
I
God,
could
dude.
imagine that. I would do that. If I could be good at anything like upper level, I would go in there like I don't care what anybody says anywhere. I would. I
Me
wouldn't
too.
care.
I will show up
You
in a,
too?
I will show up in a Metallica T-shirt,
Right?
and camel shorts, and
Oh,
and
speaking
Crocs.
of which, Netflix has Happy Gilmore 2 coming out, right?
Yeah, in July, right?
Oh,
It's in
wow.
July, right?
Yeah, that's going to be the best. That's going to be absolutely amazing. I'm there for that.
Thank you, Warren.
That's my version of golf. Like, just go out there and be brash and be loud and, make it fun and exciting.
That's awesome.
So, do we have business? Do I got to cover some promotional stuff here or whatever? So, let's see. What do we have?
We got horse racing stuff here we're talking about
Well,
here.
we have the Belmont, but I
That's
had
coming
some
on
other
Saturday,
stuff
right?
first. I didn't know. Yeah, usually Mike says some stuff, and then we have the Belmont
does
or whatever. All right, so we tried
He's so
to get.
fancy too when he does it. Boom,
Yeah,
boom.
he's like, I can't. I'm not gonna pretend that. I'm just gonna bring. Yeah, I'm me. And that's it. All right, so we have the Belmont this weekend. All right. So what are you pointing at?
This thing here.
No, we'll get back to that.
Oh, okay,
Relax.
okay,
We're gonna get back
okay.
to that. Okay, the Belmont Stakes is Saturday. Ernest is trying to get off the beat. Stay on track, Ernest.
I'm trying. I'm
All right,
sorry.
I'm in charge. I'm the captain of this show.
You're always the
today.
captain.
I have to be I have to steer this thing today in Mike's absence. I have an obligation to make sure the show stays on track. Stay on track. Okay, so we have the Belmont, and you probably haven't done any research in this or haven't studied anything in this. What do you think?
Who are the guys racing this thing again?
All right, this one's.
Is anybody from the last two races that are entering this thing?
Yeah, it's in there. Sovereignty wins this thing, and I know champions. Sovereignty comes in here.
Is Sandman in this thing again? Is Sandman in this thing again? No.
No Sandman.
Preakness, who won the Derby's in it.
Yeah, that's not a thing. So we're gonna. I don't believe. So okay. I looked at the lineup, and I don't know if we have it here or you have it in front of you of the horses, but I had that pick. My pick is Sovereignty, and I know you didn't do your homework. I know I'm springing this on you, but here it is. We have Hill Road at 10-1, Sovereignty at 2-1, Rodriguez at 6-1, Uncaged at 30-1, Crudo at 15-1. Beza at 4-1, Journalism at 8-5, and Heart of Honor at 30-1.
So Journalism was the favorite to win this thing, obviously, right?
Journalism at 8-5, yes.
Yes.
So Journalism would be.
He won the last major big race. If I'm not mistaken, right?
It's the only one who ran in all three. Okay. Sovereignty won the Kentucky Derby winner. Skipped the Preakness, which is always a thing because of the lengths. I think Belmont's the shortest one, I believe, of the three, and some of them shrinking. I'm not sure. Beza finished third in the Kentucky Derby, and Rodriguez won the Wood Memorial, but didn't race in the Derby. It was scratched, so there's a chance that horse.
Here's the bottom line.
I got Sovereignty.
Here's the bottom line. You know my thing here. I always bet value. Who's 10-1 again? Was that Hill Road?
Hill Road.
Hill Road. Take Hill Road. Just for the value. 10-1 odds. I like value. Let's
so
do
there's only eight runners in the thing. So it's interesting how it's almost similar to Rory sitting out. I think that horse racing they used to. I remember 25 years ago they used to run and run and run. They used to run like if you ran a Derby and even missed, you would still run the other two, and they would create these stories.
These
of,
eras
of,
now.
Oh, I just missed and this and that. And now it's like, okay, my horse didn't win the Derby, but let's retire him and stud it out, and then just put somebody else.
See,
in
happens
there
in
or whatever.
golf, happens in horse racing, happens in basketball. Everybody wants to quit.
Right.
I don't get it. It's the era we live in now, I guess. Man up. I don't know.
No, it's not. It's like it's taking days off. Like you have horses taking days off and basketball
I will
players
never do
taking
that.
days
Dude. I
off or
will
whatever.
always stay on the gas.
If you could, all gas, no brakes.
I got all gas, no brakes, brother.
Yeah. So you would you're not going to ever take a day off.
I mean,
I'm going to check your record. I think you called out a couple months ago.
I haven't called in a while, actually, buddy.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. All gas,
I'm
no
grinding.
brakes.
I got kids. To
All right,
feed,
so
brother.
there it is. This is the only place in the county you can bet this thing. This is my infomercial part. Belmont Stakes. It's always fun. It's a blast. You could come. I believe you could bet the day before. You could bet the day of. You could bet here and stay. You could bet here and go watch it at home. Whatever you want. You can only place in the county. Watch Rager Win. Come to the Paddock Restaurant. There's still seating available. Call over there. 561-683-2222. Ask for the Paddock Restaurant. We'll get you a seat over there, get you reserved. But there's more than just the Belmont Stakes, but there's horse racing after horse racing.
Right.
And this is like the wrap-up, I believe, for the season. I think it's like
Yeah, I think it's
the
last one before October, right? Next one
Right,
October.
and then the season starts. So this is it. This is come out, get your bets in, get your wagers in. Come out. There's nothing else going on Saturday anyway.
What'd you call it? The big? This is the part of the big three.
Yeah, you don't know the big three?
It's obviously the Derby.
Go ahead, yeah.
It's Preakness.
Yeah,
and
look
then
at you.
Belmont Specs.
You've been here 25 years, and you know that now.
22.
That's
22. Who's counting Buddy?
Right. So yeah, this is the last leg of the big three. Unfortunately, no Kentucky Triple Crown hopefuls, but that doesn't mean it's not an exciting time and it's
That's
not
right.
as much energy. It is. These races, and even if you're a casual bettor, this is the one. Come out and bet this one. You'll have a blast with it. All right. So we got one last segment. And
This is gonna be fun.
this one is fun. This one's a little bit near and dear close to my heart. Okay, so I saw this on the roster for stuff we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the Madden covers. So first off, did you see who's on the cover for this year?
Congratulations to Saquon Barkley.
Congratulations to Noah. Saquon Barkley is on the cover. It's awesome. I saw the videos of it. I saw two different things. One said that he actually jumped over the person in the thing, but then they had another one where he's like hoisted up with green screen stuff.
Really?
Yeah. Like people don't know, this isn't actually. That's not there, and I don't know if everybody knows. That's a green screen there, and it looks like, right? It's not there. Like
Peel behind the curtain now. Why
Right.
don't you?
So okay. So I told him we could put whatever we want back there. We'll put a beach scene. So we can actually have me hurtling over stuff or whatever with a green screen and make it.
Oh my
make
God!
look
Please
like
do
that.
it. Can you please film this, Jake? Please.
That would be awesome. So they had him, on like a pulley and he jumps over the thing. But he did it. He literally did it in a game. He did it in a game where he actually did it. So he does have credibility there. So I'm excited. He's on the cover. I'm a big Madden guy. Came up with the question. Okay, we're going to ask two questions here. Question number one, best Madden cover ever. We have examples here. Do we have them up here or no?
Yeah, mine.
Okay, so here it is. So I have my favorite cover, and you have your favorite cover.
But my favorite cover's not on here at all.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
What is it?
I went to 1992.
You can't go back. Okay, so 2000. I'm going since 2000. What realism? 92. Were you born?
Come on, bro.
Okay.
I was 12 years old.
Okay, who was it?
I was John Madden. It was simple. It was
funny
easy.
that you say that.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite Madden game of all time.
It's interesting that you say that, and I'm a true purist of the game,
Right.
and I picked the one with Madden, the old school Madden from 2 years ago. You see him up there on the bottom row.
Yeah, the
fourth one over from the left.
the Raiders.
I think it's
Super Bowl
20,
championship.
23.
23. That's he passed away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and what a great. That's just the classic. And there's some other good ones, some players, and there's some absolutely terrible ones. And I know there's only one answer for this.
The bad one?
And if you don't know the answer for the worst choice of a Madden cover ever, if you do not know this answer, you are not a true Madden fan. I want Brooklyn Rob to chime in. He needs to chime in. He knows this answer.
Is it
he and I used to battle
Culpepper?
head to head in Madden. I used to make him want to rip his hair out. Like there's only one choice. Who is it?
Culpepper?
No, you missed. I'm gonna give one more second for Brooklyn Rob to chime in, but there's only one. I think he's still here, but there's one. Pull it back up.
Oh, is it on the screen?
Yeah, it's on the screen.
Okay, so
so
you
go
have
ahead and There's only one.
There's Charles.
Yeah.
Calvin Johnson. No. Is that McNabb?
Yeah.
Is that the answer?
No.
Okay. Ray Lewis is great.
Yeah.
Michael Vick is great.
Look.
Is that Steven Jackson?
He knows. This is his homer guy. Peyton Hillis was the one-hit wonder of the NFL. The 1 year he lit it up. He's running guys over. He's crushing the league with these runs. It was the most bizarre thing ever. And then they stick him on a cover.
Well, why is it bad?
And he was a journeyman, terrible. He got lucky 1 year and he disappeared. It is the worst cover in the history of Madden.
Let me ask you: is it bad because of the aesthetics or because of who it is?
No, it's just bad overall. It's like it's Peyton Hillis. It's him. He wasn't even good at football.
Let him live, bro.
He's literally. How about this? You look at the name. There's not.
Hall of Famer,
He is
Hall
the
of Famer,
only
Hall of
not.
Famer.
He's the only not Hall of Famer. He's not even like. He didn't even do anything. But everybody else on here is a Hall of Famer.
Or
almost.
at least a All Pro at one point in the career.
I don't know if there's not a Hall. Yeah, Odell.
Oh,
and then,
Culpepper, not a Hall of Famer, but it was All
Right.
Pro a couple of years. Eddie George, same thing.
all right. Do you believe in the Madden curse?
I don't believe in curses at all, but I can get why people think that.
You don't remember.
I hope
you don't remember Ed McCaffrey. He gets on the cover.
Can I say that?
Yeah.
This sounds bad saying this.
Don't say it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it.
You're not going to
If
put
I-
the
if I-
curse.
if
Don't
I-
do it.
You're probably gonna fire me after I say this.
Don't say
though.
it.
No, but I hope the curse does come into effect this year.
Does?
Well, because listen. I need to win. I need my Giants to start winning some games. And if Saquon not in the field, I love Saquon to death. He got his money, thank God. But it won't hurt me if he misses a couple of games this year just because of the man cover. I'm not gonna be mad about that. Notice I didn't say Jalen Hurts. I said Saquon Barkley. I'm fired. 22 years. Future endeavors. And by the way, my worst
Move in your career was saying that.
By the way, my worst man cover is actually the one this year of Saquon because it's a reminder how stupid my team is.
All right, so the man curse that you just put on my guy.
Did you post do you have the Saquon Barkley cover by any chance on you?
I don't think we have it up
That's
there.
the worst
It's
cover.
coming up.
That's the worst cover for me.
It's a great
reminder.
cover. It's great.
It is a great cover. Aesthetically speaking, for
God,
me, it's a reminder of how bad my Giants
God
are.
help you, please, whatever God you believe in, whatever that might be, or whatever. If something happens to my guy Saquon this year after that whole snippet thing, good thing you're not good at prognosticating sports stuff and that you miss all the time.
Whoa! Calm down.
Right.
Calm down.
You're
not
literally trying to put the kibosh on my season, like just trying to totally like,
you guys got in the Super Bowl without
It's
Saquon
like-
before the pass. Stop it.
yeah, that's like a
He didn't play well
You
in
might
the
as well
Super
take me outside and kick me in the nuts.
He
and say,
didn't play well in the Super Bowl.
Why would you,
He didn't even play well in the Super Bowl. He still won. He didn't play well. He what?
You're just
30-something yards? 40-something yards?
I don't even want to do this show anymore. That's all right. We're gonna.
I love you.
I think we'll do some high hand stuff. We'll do some pick stuff. All right. What's your bet? Your bet is that Saquon gets injured and he's a comeback player in 2 years from now?
I love Saquon though. Let's do championship bets here. I'm gonna do some combos here.
All right, combo up.
I'm taking Edmonton tonight to win.
Yeah.
I'm taking the under. Also, Edmonton to cover 1.5 goals and the under at 6.5 goals. However, keep an eye on the total situation of the series because Edmonton is a slight favorite. So the overall series odds may shift even a little more in their favor after they win tonight. Bet Florida at that point because he gets a little bit of value there. Shout out to Paul for giving me that advice on that. Oh.
No, I've been doing that. It's like in-game lines. I picked up the Panthers a couple of games ago.
Yeah.
That they were down 2-0 in the
Right.
first period. I picked them up. I crushed that thing. Like,
The name of the game here, Noah, is you got to find value where you can, and I'm going to find value because since that series is nip and tuck, so Florida loses tonight, for example,
Right.
then you bet Florida for
Right.
point.
All right, I'm
for
going with the
series.
Florida parlay, and I've been doing very well with this thing, the Florida parlay. My Florida parlay goes Florida Panthers, the over, and then I either going to go with one of the guys to either get a point or a goal. I'll put one of those guys in, Kachuk or somebody, probably an assist or a point or whatever. It feels like easy money because I ran my account up like 5x, and
There you go.
and I'm only betting $5 a bet, but I've been hitting one after the other. That's my pick.
Real quick, NBA
yeah.
Finals, take the Thunder -9 and the over at 231 for Game 1.
Oh, the Thunder win by 40 on that game. That's
There you go.
That's wild. And you could even bet those. I think I'm going to do something bizarre like that, like the Thunder -27 or something like that. Like those things are always fun.
yeah.
But the Thunder could do that to that team. They're playing at home. They're hungry and they're ready to go. So those are your bets. We're partnered with Hard Rock Bets app, and Mike says it better than me. But you go to our website and everything's on there. If problem gambling, want to admit it, like all.
You have any final thoughts?
I do. Well, before we get into that, were you here? So today is the anniversary. You know today's anniversary or no?
June 4th, right?
Yeah.
So
But you
June
know what
4th.
happened here at the track on June 4th? Like years and years, I think it's almost 30 years ago.
Oh,
30,
before I
how many
started
years
here.
ago?
The room didn't open up. No, it's February. No.
So it was 94. So it was 31 years ago. You don't know?
No.
What's the track? The most famous thing that ever happened on a track?
Was it the rendezvous?
There you go. Look
Yeah.
at you.
Oh,
right off the
there you go,
screen.
yeah.
Oh. So Patsy Rendezvous. This is the anniversary of her breaking the all-time record for most wins on a track, and there she is. So
adorable.
the first time I was ever introduced to the track was during this. So I was
Really?
I was 90.
God, you're old.
What year is that? I am
94.
Old. So that's 94.
I was 14 years old.
So
I was still in middle
20
school.
20 years old, and I see it. Like I'm a local in the paper, and they start talking about this dog that doesn't lose, and I'm like, a dog, and it introduced me to dog racing. So I would come out for each race, and I watched the last few as she's breaking the record and getting there or whatever, coming out and watching, and it was a spectacle. I think like they had limousine, like they had a They had a limousine that got stuck on. Somebody got in trouble for that. But anyway, they had a limousine that came to the track, and they pulled it on the track, and it got, I think it got stuck on the track. And they couldn't get it off the track, and we had to cancel racing for the day or something.
Really?
There's a story about
Wow.
that. Yeah, I think it was Sal's fault. But I don't know exactly what happened.
He was here too at the time?
Sal was here then, yeah. So, yeah, but this dog was like the best. If you had to rank the best athletes or sports figures in Palm Beach County of all time, she's in the top 10.
Ooh, I like that.
No, it's wild.
You
It was
should do
a
a top
big
10
thing.
rankings.
It did so much for the sport and so much here. It was a national story in a lot of ways. There was national snippets and talking about it and how great this dog was or whatever. So dog racing. She was everything great about dog racing, and it was wild. We had the Marlins get 150 for their baseball games. We had 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 on it. And when it hit on a Friday night, when that draw card would come in perfect for a Friday night and she was running, man, we're talking like we're out here and it's November and the weather's cool and Patsy's running. It was like the Kentucky Derby.
Man.
Every time
I wish I
she
was actually old enough to see that. Well, I was 14, but
yeah,
it
you could have
wasn't.
came. You just couldn't go to the window and bet.
Right.
Which is probably good for you because you don't pick winner. You probably would have picked
Calm
against
down.
her.
Calm down.
But
Calm
she was going off every race 1-9.
That's
1
not
to
funny,
9,
Jake.
1-9, 1-9. Like she couldn't lose. Like they'd open the thing. They got the door and the dog shoots out and it was over.
Yeah.
It was a pretty amazing sight. So for anybody who's there, I'm glad you got to experience it. I did.
Shout out to Patsy Rendezvous.
Yeah, Patsy, always.
That's a great name, by the
thing
way. I
for
love that
us.
name. It's a great name.
So we're gonna wrap up. So again, the poker room is absolutely jamming, especially on the weekends. High hands every 15 minutes, all that money. Then the 15, and every time you win a high hand, you take it for the drawing. People are winning $5,000 in drawing or whatever. And then on top of that, combine that with June Progressive High Hands. Again, these are the best promotions I've ever seen in any room in the whole entire state of Florida. These
I
are
agree.
crazy. And Teresa chimed in. She knows. She was in Sports Illustrated.
That's amazing.
Progressive,
And SI back in '94 was still.
Well, it still is, I think, right?
It's thrilled to me.
No, could you imagine? So, the dog was actually in, and so what an amazing job by Patsy and her trainers and owners and all that stuff. But yes, right now, the thing we got going, high hands, exciting stuff, poker all weekend, come on in.
And a big bad beat now, $200,000. We're very close to it.
Yeah, so now you just jinxed it, so that thing's gone. So by the time you get in here on next Wednesday, that thing's gone. You don't speak about the bad beat.
What?
All right, I got a quick story about the bad beat. Want to hear a bad beat story? real quick?
Another bad beat story now?
So
I gotta hear?
So we have a bad beat, and the state allows bad beats, and I fought the rules to get this approved. So I come up with the math, and I say, okay, this is how much we'll collect, and this is how much we'll give away, and we'll guarantee $5,000 minimum, and it shouldn't hit for every 6 months or 3 months or whatever.
Right.
Okay. So we started on like a Wednesday, and 10 a.m. we opened the room, and the bad beat's up. Everybody's excited. There's $5,000 on the board, and it hits within 45 minutes. So the general manager calls me, and he says, I thought you figured out this math is supposed to hit every 6 months. And I don't know if you know about variance and how that works.
I know some of it, yeah.
Okay, so I just got unlucky. So the thing hits. I said, listen, it's just the math. It makes sense. By the time I got downstairs, it hit again.
What?
So it was the most bizarre thing in the history of anything. And then he really didn't believe me. He said, you're wrong. The math is just wrong. And I had math, and the math was math, and we just got unlucky. So, yeah, that's just the way I read. But anyway, Ernest just jinxed it. So now you got to come in and play because the bad beat's $200,000, and it will go because Ernest talked about it. Come on in and get that. Any closing thoughts, Ernest?
Well, I'm looking forward to my little weekend, getaway weekend. I'm going to Tampa to see Metallica with the
Are
family.
you?
Yeah, my wife and kids are going with me, and then they're going to Disney the day after.
Wait,
So,
everybody, all the kids, everybody's going to be there?
Yeah, my youngest son's so excited about that show. It'll be my fifth time seeing them live, though. But yeah, looking forward to that.
It's a lot of fun taking the kids' music experience.
Oh, they love it, dude. They love it.
Wow. So you're doing that?
I took them to see Fall Out Boy 2 years ago for the first ever concert. They loved it.
Okay.
Yeah,
So we're actually doing that with our kids this summer. We're taking them to a place in Canada to go see Zed and a couple other artists. It's going to be awesome.
nice.
So we're excited. Yeah, there's no better experience than watching your kid in
Yes,
that element and
yes.
watch him open up. It was the first time I ever heard my kid curse at the Post Malone concert when he was singing, and there was an F-bomb in there. She sang, and I'm like,
Were they grounded?
no, it's free reign at the concert, I think. So I'm looking forward to you getting a flat tire this weekend based on all the stuff you're spitting out this week.
Oh, don't say! Come on,
between
dude!
the,
I'm already paranoid about that as is now. 3.5 hour drive.
You want to put my guy on the Madden Jinx. I just put.
Okay,
you on
I
flat
rescind
tire.
that. Okay, I'll rescind it. Okay,
All
is
right.
that better? Is that better?
Hey, thanks everybody for viewing. We hope it was almost as enjoyable as if Mike and Pat were.
Mike
here.
and Missy
We
is
did
so
our best.
Pat.
We do, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week and talking about Ernest's flat tire.
PBKC, your ultimate destination for poker excitement in South Florida. 65 tables of action. friendly and professional staff. Cash games featuring the best jackpots and promotions in the state. Daily and evening tournaments that cater to all levels of players. Table games like 3-card poker and Ultimate Texas Hold'em with just a $5 minimum. Experience all the thrill and excitement of Vegas-style poker right in your own backyard. Get cool summer vibes this June in the Poker Room with new bigger high hand promotions. High hands every 15 minutes, 9 a.m. to midnight with a $15,000 cash giveaway on June 28th. Also this month, progressive high hand weekends with a $100,000 bonus giveaway. Win extra cash for qualifying hands. Miss it today, win more tomorrow. Visit the Poker Room for complete rules.